All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about the AI ecosystem that I think everyone is actually building and moving towards without even realizing that they're doing so. And I'm going to break it down into 4 pieces, which are assistants, APIs, agents, and augmented reality. And I think once you see this model, you're going to realize that the news coming in from OpenAI and Anthropic and all these different companies, it's all moving in this direction toward this model. And I think it's going to be really helpful for you to just have that mental model of it. So let's jump into it. So I actually broke this down into a much longer explanation that you could see above back in December of 2023. And I wrote a kind of a little bit of a crappy book about it in 2016. I really just wanted to capture the ideas, which it was decent at doing that. It was called The Real Internet of Things. I could put a link to that in there. Don't really need to read the book. This is actually much better. But this stuff is actually starting to happen now. And what I want to do today is take the concepts from the book and from that video above and show how they're actually falling into this model and how it's actually starting to happen today, which we could see throughout the news from all these different companies. So the first A here is assistant, or what I call a digital assistant. So 1 million different companies are actually building this piece in various ways. Some companies are building like digital companions or like smart assistants or personal agents. But to me, like this is all actually kind of the same thing. It is basically a piece of tech that is the most intimate to you because it knows everything about you. Your preferences, your calendar, your contacts, like health information, your finances. It's going to be our best advocate, our best tutor, right? It's a filter against like incoming stuff that you don't want to see. And hopefully that filter and those filters are actually assigned by you and not by someone else. But yeah, filtering out messages and emails and stuff you don't want. It's basically figuring out exactly what you want and figuring out how to make that happen all the time. Now, if you're insecurity like me, you're probably thinking, well, that's crazy. All this stuff on the screen here, like knows everything about you, history, trauma, preferences, remembers everything, has multiple agents. Like nobody's going to actually put that information into their DA. But I think we already know that's not true. We already know that people are doing this. That's why these digital companion companies are doing so well already. This is functionality that is just so powerful, like it's just going to happen, right? And this is kind of the centerpiece of this whole model that I'm going to break down. This is the first one. This is the assistant. So let's call our DA Kai. Ours is going to be called Kai. Okay, so the second A is APIs. So your DA isn't that useful if it can't do stuff for you, right? So the way it'll do stuff is through APIs. I didn't say in 2016 which of like the DA or the APIs was going to come first because I didn't know. And I still really kind of don't know, but it seems like they're kind of happening at the same time. Basically, your DA, Kai, is over here being an agent for you, right? It's being like your advocate, like we already talked about. It is an agent. It has agents working for it, but ultimately it's like one personality with a collection of agents behind it. It's effectively kind of like one entity or one person, which is why we give it a name. You know, we're treating it like a person, like a friend, right? So ultimately it's encapsulated in one personality, in one sort of entity. So Kai is constantly looking at your state and trying to figure out how to make it better. That's the core concept for the DA. That's what it's doing. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you stressed out? Do you have a meeting coming up, right? That it needs to help you prepare for. And all of this is proactive. You haven't even asked it anything else yet. So basically DAs are going to do something I talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is managing your current state relative to your ideal state or your desired state, right? How could this current situation that I am in, that Kai is monitoring, how could that be better? So if you're hungry, Kai will go find food. If you're worried, they're going to find camera feeds to like see around corners, like if you're worried about your security or walking around or something. Or they'll listen to scanners and see if there's like police activity nearby, or look at crime stats for like the neighborhood that you're in or whatever. And that's actually what all these APIs are over here that you see, right? These are all the different things that Kai, that your DA will have access to. So APIs are essentially the representations of people and companies and services. Basically, everything becomes an API. And we're already seeing this, as we're going to talk about, we're already seeing this with MCPs. This is actually starting to happen. So what I said in 2016 was basically everything gets an API. Every person, objects, businesses, most importantly, people and businesses, but also other objects. That's why I called it the real Internet of Things. Basically, everything gets an API, and you have your DA navigating those APIs for you on your behalf, right? So all these APIs you see here, except for there's going to be millions of them, right? Eventually billions, but you start off with thousands and then millions or whatever. But every company will be an API. Every product will be an API. People will be broadcasting APIs of ourselves, which I call daemons. Is just a Greek word for like soul, basically. And think of this like your own personal like MCP server. And these are not designed to be used by you or me. We can't read all these APIs. You need help reading all these APIs. You can't walk into a mall or walk into a city or walk down a road or whatever and read all the cars and the trees and all the people and all the businesses. You can't do that. That's why you need your DA to do that for you, right? So all these systems, all these APIs here, and the agents that sort of represent them, they're all designed to be used by your DA, right? That's their purpose. So it's like the interface to the world like changes. It's no longer about what we see with our eyes, like Google, like old Google. Now it's about what do agents see? What do DAs see, right? That's the world that starts to matter a lot more. And a big part of this is going to be a bunch of APIs that are actually just concatenations or lists or directories of other APIs, because one of the things that my DA has to do is it has to ask, hey, what's the best restaurant or whatever? And I've got a few here, right? Best food, lookups or whatever. These are all just be, third-party services that do nothing but crawl all the other ones and rate them so that when Kai reaches out and says, hey, I need to find the best food, within like 3 minutes, close to this location, but it can't have chicken in it or whatever, all those different criterias, it could find the right one, right? So there'll be a whole bunch of like lookup service type of things like that. Okay, so that takes us right into the third one, which is agents. So we've got a few agents here. And the way I like to define an agent, there's lots of different definitions. I think the agent should be super obvious, like from the definition, like what it actually means and why it has value. So I say it's an AI system component that autonomously pursues a goal by taking multiple steps that previously would have required a human. I think that is a really good definition. It's autonomous, and it's taking a goal, and it's pursuing that with multiple steps in a way that only humans could do before. The part that makes an agent different than automation, this is really important. This is why I have it in the definition. The part that makes it different is the fact that when a human is trying to get something done, like say you're an assistant for your boss or whatever, and you're trying to get something done, like you call the first place, they don't answer the phone. You call the first place, the phone number doesn't work. Life is just broken, right? Like all these different steps are broken. Now, if you have automation is static, right? It's a whole bunch of if-thens. Agents aren't if-then. They are, I have all these tools available. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep exhausting my resources, trying different things to try to get it done, right? I will, maybe none of the things work. So I'm going to do more research to find another API that I could use or another service to find this person pizza. Sarah wants pizza. I'm going to get Sarah pizza. And she's going to do, the DA is going to do multiple things to make sure that she gets that pizza. That's the difference between automation and agent. So that's our definition here. And we see that our DA actually has the use of multiple agents. These agents might be like researchers. They might be like security bots to lock down your infrastructure. They could be whatever, but they all kind of work for Kai, right? Kai is like the centerpiece here. And this is going to be a theme we're going to see throughout agents all over the place, including inside of companies like we have over here with like United or whatever. It's the concept of you're talking to one agent, but behind it, it has a whole bunch of other agents. So you give it the goal, and it breaks that down into sub-goals and gives that to the smaller agents, which are then doing the other things, like building a marketing campaign, hacking a website, doing whatever it is, right? So that's really the concept of agents. And Google actually just released a thing called Agent to Agent, I think was the name of it. And what it does is it makes it so that all these different agents here, they could talk to each other with a common protocol, which is very similar to MCP, where it's a common protocol for creating APIs for an application or, a company or whatever. So we're starting to see the glue, the protocol glue that's going to make all this stuff possible with this agent-to-agent protocol and MCP and stuff like that. So the final piece here, so we've got the DA, we've got the assistant, we've got the APIs, we've got the agents. So the final piece, or the final A here in the 4As, is AR, or augmented reality. And this is the one you might be thinking is fringe, or it's like 10 years away, but it's actually much closer. Meta and Apple are currently fighting over this now. Tim Cook just recently said, look, I'm not going to let anyone beat us here. They want to beat Meta at this game. Meta already has really good glasses. They're not actually displaying anything inside of it, but you can see out of it that takes pictures. Like, it's pretty decent. And obviously, it's not big and heavy and super expensive like the Vision Pro. So that is a battle that is happening right now. So we are all eventually, I don't know how long this is going to take. It's hard to make like specific predictions, right? So 2 to 5 years, who knows? It's going to be something relatively soon. Meta or Apple, or maybe someone comes out of the dark and just kind of crushes this, who knows? But the point is, we're all going to have these AR glasses, eventually like contact lenses or something better than that, but it's going to start off with glasses. And here's the trick. This is how the whole ecosystem starts to come together. Our DAs are going to be showing us stuff that is time-based and that is contextually relevant to whatever we're doing at that moment. Remember, our DA is trying to optimize everything according to our goals. It's trying to get to our desired state from our current state. So if we're walking down a street like this here, we're walking down a street and like we think it's kind of dangerous. Yeah, it's going to present this interface here, which I've got over here coming from this daemon called Bastion, which is really, it's just a company. It's a company that's called Bastion, and they have feeds called Get Feed, Poll Cameras, Poll Microphones, Query Personal Mics, Get Local CCTV, right? So maybe it could pull all the different people who are broadcasting their feed, because people are going to be wearing cameras as well. This is coming soon. Basically, camera ahead of you, a camera behind you, and maybe you sell your camera feed to Bastion. People will do this. Trust me, it's going to happen. People are going to sell their camera feeds to Bastion, right? It's not going to be for private stuff. Like, it's going to get turned off when you go home, stuff like that. You shouldn't trust that. You should also like cover the camera or whatever. But the point is, if you're sitting in Starbucks or whatever, and say a fight altercation happens or something like that, Bastion will be able to show that to the police or show that to somebody else who's worried about it. So my DA, while I'm walking down the street, right? I'm walking down the street here. It's like, oh, this neighborhood feels unsafe. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this neighborhood feels unsafe. Or it hears me say something in a conversation where I'm just like, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy. I'm a little worried, right? I say anything like that. Or even before I say it, the DA, Kai, goes out and looks at one of these services to find the best security interface, the best one for parsing feeds, giving, real-time HUD data and stuff like that. So it gets one back. It's called Bastion. So it starts pulling stuff like that. It gets back the content. It then goes to another interface, which is a whole separate company, which is the UI for this content. Okay, you see these red? This isn't a great example, but like, let's say there's data here, right? Let's say there's like, oh, how many people are around? Is anyone wearing a weapon? Let's do like gait analysis to see if they're leaning because they're carrying a gun or something like that, right? All this stuff All these different individual pieces, different companies are better at, okay? Somebody is better at making this red, cool looking interface. Somebody is better at doing voice analysis of microphones coming from all around you. Somebody is better at doing camera analysis of like all the different dangers on the street. All of those are these right here. This is what every company becomes. It becomes a specialized thing at doing a thing better than everyone else, all judged by these indexing services, these rating services, which are marketing to your DA. It is marketing to Kai. So when I'm walking down the street and I say, hey, show me what's going on around me, or something like that, or I don't even have to say it, it just knows I'm freaking out. Why? Because Kai can see my heart rate. Kai can see that we're in a place I've never been. Somebody is laying on the street with like a needle sticking out of their arm. Kai figures out this is kind of seedy. It's a little bit dangerous. I don't like it. And obviously my principal, Daniel, doesn't like it either. Therefore, boom, goes and searches, finds Bastian, finds a UI, the best UI. Okay, the best UI is called UI Wizard. Not too creative, but whatever. It's called UI Wizard. UI Wizard pops up. That's this red interface, and it starts filling in data. Where'd the data come from? From Bastian. It came from the Bastian service. Where does that go? This interface is in these glasses, which is on my face. So now watch this. We've got other scenarios here, okay? You start browsing for headphones. Your DA does this. It uses these services, and it gives you back a response. So I'm looking for headphones. It goes and investigates all these different things. You mentioned to a friend that you're getting hungry. It goes and researches all these different best food places, parses all 713 different places in like a second and a half, gets back the results. Hey, you haven't had Thai in a while. There's a great little place with super high ratings if you take a right in 2 blocks. I can call you in an order if you want, right? This is the model. These 4 A's, this is the model. This is where this is all heading. This is the direction, right? So I'm telling you, this is what's happening. It is absolutely exciting to see this starting to unfold, right? There's a million different companies working on this part. There's multiple companies working on the AR glasses part. Everything is turning into an API already. This is MCP over here. This is the unification of it. And then, of course, over here we have what's happening on the corporate side, where agents are basically going to be doing a whole bunch of work. You'll have humans kind of in charge of things. The leaders and in the extreme SMEs will be human for quite some time, I think. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to automate everyone away, but a lot of the work that was getting done is going to be getting done by agents and teams of agents. So that's agents inside the corporate place. But as far as the consumer side, as far as the stuff that you're seeing, like in the OpenAI and Anthropic and most of the stuff that they're talking about is mostly about the consumer and stuff like that. This is it. This is the structure. Okay, so another example of this is like, let's say you're in a live conversation and you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like somebody you've never met before and you're considering whether to go into business with them or whatever, and they're making a whole bunch of claims. They're like, oh yeah, I used to work with so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And actually I helped him start his business. And yeah, do you know Sarah? Yeah, Sarah, I went to college with her and blah, blah, blah. So again, you're wearing glasses. Everyone's wearing glasses. The person you're talking to is actually wearing these glasses as well. And you're having this conversation, but in the whole time, you're wondering, like, is this actually true? Is all the stuff that this person claimed happened, or the people that they claim they know or whatever, is this all true, right? So what'll happen is you'll have like something going off to voice analysis. This depends how many things you're subscribed to. It depends how far along we are in this cycle, what all your DA can actually do. But this is all sort of being built right now. So like if there's tension in their voice, like analyzing the claims that they're making, doing research on it. Did they actually go to college? Did Sarah and this person actually, were they in college at the same time? That should be on LinkedIn. Let's go find that out. So if you're waiting on a delivery, and this goes back to the AR side, if you're waiting on a delivery, you will see a timer timing down, right? Just like you have on your phone now, that will be in your interface. So you don't have to pick up a phone. The whole point is with AR glasses is to have to do much less with an actual physical device that you pick up and have to interact with. It'll be a lot more, it's visual here, and you're just talking to your DA. And your DA is doing most of the work yourself using all these different services, right? So where is the data coming from, right? How is it being displayed in the glasses? That's exactly what we talked about earlier. The data is coming from these services, moving through a UI, being displayed in the glasses, right? So in the case of like trying to determine if someone is lying, right? Let's say there's like a liometer interface inside of this little UI here inside your AR. Well, somebody is providing that liometer interface, right? There is one of these companies is actually the voice analysis providing back data. And that's just like JSON coming back. That is like saying like the chances of them being lying about this particular thing, like according to voice analysis or like according to the research that was done, right? All these things can be combined together. Like that stuff could actually just be returned raw back to Kai, and Kai could look at all of that and send another feed into the UI to update that liometer, right? There's so many options here because these are APIs. This is just JSON or whatever the protocol is going to be flowing back and forth, right? That's the power of this entire thing. So let's zoom out again and let's just take a look at this entire thing, okay? Again, just as a review here, look at the 4 A's. Kai knows what you want at all times. Constantly calling APIs, making requests, summarizing things, creating reports for you, researching the best options, anticipating your needs throughout the day and week and month or year or whatever. Adjusting your AR interface, constantly switching. Look, you're in the house, maybe you see your books, maybe you see how hungry everyone is. Like this interface is constantly changing. Kai is changing it for you using these different APIs, right? And the interface that Kai is using will be coming from multiple companies as well. Maybe Kai's generic interface actually gets good enough. Maybe one of these companies is a generic interface creator, so you don't actually have to use individual ones, right? And Kyle just switched to using that one. So when you're looking at books, you're inside of a library, it's a different HUD. You know, walking down the street, it's a different HUD. Talking to someone, different HUD, right? So if you take a step back and you look at this interface here, right? Think of all the news that you've heard from the last few years in AI. Think about the latest news from OpenAI. They just added like long-term memory where it's going to remember all your previous conversations, right? Think about digital companion companies, digital helper apps that will like go and do tasks for you, Siri and Gemini on the mobile device. And of course, you all heard the stuff about Siri, right? Where they're trying to make this thing a better assistant. They're trying to give it access to more and more data about you, right? And they're trying to do it in a secure way, obviously. And Gemini is competing in that space as well. Samsung has their own version, right? This is all like heading in that direction of like the DA. All of them are heading in this direction of the unified DA, right? That's the easiest way to see this. So now think about all the news around MCPs and APIs and how they'll be able to talk to each other with the agent-to-agent protocol and all of those different things. Basically, that's what we were talking about with everything gets an API. And you already hear all the talk about agents. That's all everyone talks about now. And then you think about the news about Meta and Apple fighting about AR glasses. And that's this piece over here, right? So everyone is moving towards these 4 A's. This is it. This is the ecosystem that we're creating. It's absolutely insane. And it's starting to fill in. And like, again, now that you've seen it, I think you're going to realize that all the new news is just filling in pieces of this and eventually getting us to this. And it's very sort of cyberpunky and very future oriented, but so many of these pieces already exist. Like, this is just HTTP going back and forth. Like, these protocols are not too difficult. The only difficult part right now is just like the hardware challenge of like the AR stuff is really difficult. And that's probably the thing that's going to take the longest. But agents are getting better. Like the AI itself is getting smarter and smarter. Like, context size is a huge one, and memory is a huge one. That is dramatically getting better. Like 4.1 now has 1 million tokens. A couple of the Google ones now have 4 million tokens, I think, for context. So all of this is starting to come together. All right, so anyway, that's what I wanted to share. And I think this is a really powerful way of just interpreting what's coming in terms of the news and putting that into a context and showing how it fits into a model. I think it's just useful to be able to parse things in that way, make sense of it. Keep in mind, we don't actually know the details of any of these pieces, right? Is MCP going to win? Who knows? That new agent-to-agent protocol that Google came out with, is that actually going to be useful? Who knows? Like, it might not be useful at all. Like, nobody could adopt it. Like, who's going to win with the glasses, right? Is it going to be Apple? Is it going to be Meta? Is it going to be someone completely separate? I have no idea, right? These things are not super predictable. I believe that my 2016 like outlook and predictions from back then, it's human-based. It's based on the fact that I know what I want my agent to be able to do. And, you know, I've been in tech for so long that I understand all these protocols and stuff. So I just assumed this is the way it was going. And it turns out to be happening. But you can't predict the companies. You can't predict the timelines. You can't predict any of this. So that's what makes it so exciting. I just hope that this model helps you sort of make sense of the news as it comes in, and hopefully moves it in this direction towards this model and just makes it easier for you to parse the news and make sense of it. So do me a favor and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.